What's up, guys? Specstar here today with my Week 3 battle for MLBA. I'm going up here against Matt Metagross, and we are both 2-0, so it's definitely going to be an interesting battle. We're both trying to move on to the big 3-0 mark, and we both have some threatening mons, so it's going to be an interesting game. Now, the first thing you may notice is he has an offensive core of Mamoswine, Necrozma, Z Salamence, and Mega Blaziken. So I tried to build a defensive core that it could deal with Mega Blaziken, Salamence, Mamoswine, and Necrozma, and it was a daunting task, but I gave it my best effort. He also brought Vaporeon, which I thought was very likely. It has some good defensive answers to my Pheromosa, which otherwise is just a complete threat to him, and Darkrai, as well as Sharpedo. So a lot of my offensive mons kind of had somewhat of an issue with Vaporeon. And he also brought Drapion, which I was definitely considering to be a high possibility, so I wasn't really caught too far off guard by anything he brought, but considering how threatening the team is, that may not be enough to make me comfortable. But anyway, the team I've got here, I've got a physically defensive Mega Venusaur. I believe I had Leech Seed, Giga Drain, Sleep Powder, and Sludge Bomb. No, I had Synthesis over some. Again, I'm a little bit behind on this, and it's been a few days because my school schedule, but I just had my last final exam today, so I will be a lot more regular after this. The next league battle I'll have the video up that day or the day after, so I should be able to remember my sets, but actually I don't even know if it would be a Specstar video as of late if I remembered all my sets. I know I had Synthesis on the Venusaur, and I believe I had Sludge Bomb, Leech Seed, and Sleep Powder as my other moves. I had a Specs Pheromosa, which I know it had Bug Buzz, Ice Beam. I had speed on it for a base 130, if I'm not mistaken. And next up I had Darkrai here, which was Scarfed with 330 speed, just to outspeed his Mence after Dragon Dance. I also had Trick on this thing because a lot of his defensive checks to Darkrai could not handle being tricked at all, and it helped with that. I had Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, and Psychic. Psychic just made sure I would not give Blaziken free switch-ins, or at least have the opportunity to prevent it from getting such. My Sharpedo was Z Crunch, Protect, Ice Fang, and I believe an Aqua Jet. Yeah. Dragalge was physically defensive because that's the closest damn thing I had to a Mega Blaziken answer. When you draft a bulky offensive team, you're probably not going to have an answer to Mega Blaziken in Draft League, but the closest thing I had was a physically defensive Dragalge. And Dragalge should get the job done if he is Brave Bird to 2-hit KO the Venusaur rather than Earthquake to hit the Dragalge, which is what I thought was a bit more likely, and we may possibly find out which it was. And I've got a Piloswine here, which was physically defensive with Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Ice Shard, and Toxic to hit the Vaporeon. Anyway, let's dive right into this. I wanted to lead off with my Piloswine here. Piloswine covered a Drapion lead, which I actually thought was a pretty high percentage. It also covered a Mamoswine lead because I was physically defensive. And he actually led off with Necrozma here, and the first turn I was already thinking and had to make a tough decision. If he went for Stealth Rock, I would have liked to get my Stealth Rocks up too, but given that Piloswine is my best answer to Salamence, I did not want to take a Photon Geyser with this, because if he was any sort of offensive set, or even if he wasn't really, that would have done a lot more damage to my Piloswine than I'm comfortable with. So here I'm actually going to go ahead and make the switch out into Darkrai, and he is going to get up his rock, so I'm going to have a little bit of instant regret there. And here he's going to go out into Drapion, and I'm just going to throw off a Dark Pulse. It was just really a pretty free play. Nothing took it too well. We see his Drapion's Black Sludge. It doesn't appear to be a specially defensive set, although some bulk is on it. I'm going to go into my Venusaur, which is a relatively fair defensive check to it. And he's going to make the play into his Necrozma. I'm just going to get my seeds off here. And right now I'm going to make the switch out into Darkrai again. Just take my chance to start getting some chip on his team. Earth Power is going to do a fair bit of damage there actually, but health on Darkrai wasn't very important, as it is a Scarf Darkrai. It's just either dead or alive. I'm going to throw up a Dark Pulse here, and the threat is in. I'm going to go out into my Dragalge here, and we're probably going to find out what kind of a Blaziken he is. He's going to Swords Dance. I'm thinking here, please don't have Earthquake, please don't have Earthquake, please don't have Earthquake. He's got Earthquake, and there I knew I was in a bit of a situation. And I had to go Venusaur here. Venusaur is my only way to force him to click Flare Blitz, and I needed him to click Flare Blitz to get Blaziken in range of Aqua Jet from my Sharpedo. That was my best way to deal with it there. This is a Mon with my team I just couldn't do very much for, but I did the best with what I had, and it just really didn't quite get the job done here. He's going to bring out his Vaporeon, predicting the Aqua Jet. Very smart play on his behalf, and yeah, I'm definitely in a tricky position here. I'm going to have to go to my Darkrai. I'm hoping here that he believes it's a kind of sack here because I didn't have a free in, and I'm going to trick him the Choice Scarf, which is great for me, especially because he wishes. And here I did not want to give him a free in to Blaziken. If he stayed in, there's no harm in going for this, so I'm just going to click the Psychic, and we are going to take down the Blaziken. I was not letting that thing get back up to full, not in my life, not in his life, not in anyone's life. He brings up the Drapion. I'm just going to make the play right into Piloswine. He'll get up T-Spikes, which actually really suck for me at this point. Both my poisons are gone, so I'm not able to remove them. And here, at this point, I just need to start trying to get some damage off, and then maybe I can do it with Sharpedo, and maybe with a little bit of aid of Pheromosa doing some breaking. And at this point, that's what I'm thinking about, the possibility of trying to get things done with Sharpedo. And with this exchange, I'm going to throw up some Earthquakes here. I'm going to go for an Ice Shard in case it takes him out, but it's not. I was pretty sure it wouldn't, but it had the crit chance, so I thought there's just no point in not clicking it. Piloswine's going to go down here, and here I'm going to have to go out into my Pheromosa, and I'm actually going to click Ice Beam here. I thought about clicking Bug Buzz. I couldn't really deal with the possibility of letting Ment set up at this point, because if Ment's got a Dragon Dance, that was pretty much GG, which is why I was kind of forcing clicking Ice Beam. If I really did want to try to get some Ice Beam damage off on Mamoswine, it would have given me the possibility to start to clean things with Sharpedo, but he actually ends up being Bandit. If he was Life Orb, I probably would have took the Ice Shard. Again, Matt, he just came up with a great build to kind of counter a lot of what I had, and Ice Shard's going to put me, his Bandit Ice Shard's just going to put me in basically a no-win situation here. A good prep on his behalf. I definitely would have preferred if he was any other Mamo, but yeah, good on his behalf. And I'm just going to throw up my Z move here. That covers the Vaporeon switch, and it's also the only move that would have took out Mamoswine. And he's just going to let the Vaporeon go down. I'm going to go for a Crunch here. He's being very careful to let me get in range of Ice Shard, and at this point I just kind of have to play for differential and try to get the KOs I can. And you'll send out the Salamence. I do have the Ice Fang, so I'll take that out to kind of save my differential a little bit. And here he's going to go out into Necrozma, and I'm just going to click Crunch on the thing, try to put him in a position where Darkrai definitely gets a KO, and He's going to take me out. Darkrai is going to come in. I'm going to take out the Necrozma. He obviously didn't want to risk Mammoth Swine at risk of choking the game away for no reason. And Darkrai is just going to get a KO here, and I'm going to unfortunately lose the game 1-0. But there's no shame in that. I had a fun, close score-wise offensive game against Matt. He had very solid prep, and I've definitely taken no shame in losing that game. I'm just glad that I do not have to face another Blaziken in this season after facing Z Blaziken last week and Mega Blaziken this week. That is it for Blazikens. And bye-bye Blaziken, I am not going to miss you. That thing is a monster. But much like I did with my exams, I survived it, having to face it, managed to be out a 2-1 here. Definitely not the goal, but I'm just going to try my best to rebound next week and get back to 3-1, which I believe is a pretty comfortable place to be at. And that's going to be it for this video. As of this point, when I'm recording this, the ensuing week's just going to start, so should be a matter of a few days until I have my next battle up for this. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a good night.